Hi, I'm Dragonchild. I have a lot of rare pairs in my fandom history, but today I'm going to talk about probably what is my OTP right now, which is Domon and Chibity from G Gundam. Take note of that title, Chibity has lit a fire in Domon's soul. Remember that. So, what even is G Gundam? So, this takes place in the future, and everyone who could afford to fled to space colonies, which leaves only the poorest people on Earth. They have come up with this alternative to war called the Gundam fight, where basically each country sends a beautiful athlete and a giant robot to duke it out, and the winner of that fight, their country gets to be in charge of everything for the next 4 years. So it's like if a presidential election was the Olympics. These are piloted by motion capture, so they actually have to know how to fight. Also, it leaves very little to the imagination. They get Sailor Moon style suit-ups. It's great. Earth is the battleground. Our 5 leads are brought together by this mystical coalition of elite fighters called the Shuffle Alliance, which gives them some cool powers, healing factor, empathy link, fun stuff like that. So, Domon's our lead. He is an angry wet kitten. His ass is the star of the show. He is 20 years old. He's a martial arts expert who is forced into the Gundam fight by the government of Neo Japan. He's very, very passionate. He kind of vacillates between brooding and shouting a lot. But he has a very soft side. You see this with small children, animals, the way he magnetically attracts his friends. He bears the crest of the King of Hearts in the Shuffle Alliance, which basically just marks him as the leader. But let's be real, he is the king of everyone's heart. Chibity, he wants you to think he's a himbo. That way you don't look too close. He is a professional boxer. Actually, Rags to Riches story grew up on the streets of New York and was scouted by a talent agent who brought him up to the colonies to fight. I like to call his trope bravado with a heart of gold. Not jerk with a heart of gold. He is not a jerk. He's just a peacock. He tries to style himself as this beacon of hope to the people still left on Earth and to Neo America altogether, but he tends to need some help encouraging himself. He bears the crest of the Queen of Spades, which don't ask him how he feels about that. Actually, I have this whole theory about how he's a trans guy, but that could be a whole other slideshow. Anyway, just noting the, king, queen thing, natural parallel. So, we've got some good canon interactions here. Their first interaction is Domon actually sneaking into a title match to sucker punch Chibity in front of an audience because he thinks that's the best way to challenge him to a Gundam fight match. Yeah, not a great start. They actually get along better once they get into the robots. Domon wins by breaking Chibity's arm, but when Chibity takes the loss personally, as you might imagine, Domon, who by this point has only ever been nice to children, goes out of his way to remind Chibity that his fans are still there and encourages him to keep fighting. And Chibity is absolutely obsessed from then on. Other people also see the sparks as they go along. Domon's mysterious mentor Schwartz insists that Chibity is the perfect person to hone Domon's skills, even though other fighters have done better against him, so, Chibity's crew definitely agrees with them, and even the narrator calls them destined rivals. Whatever that's supposed to mean. When the Shuffle Alliance empathy kicks in, Chibity swears he is not concerned about Domon. Nobody believes him. Actually, he spends the entire training arc being really tsundere and gets super protective as things goes on as well. Eventually, the Gundam Fight semifinals, they have to face each other, and it is super gay. Here is a list of honest-to-God lines from this fight. Get ready for this, baby! And most of all, it's for you! Chibity's much better than he's ever been. Your hunger ignited a fire within me. You sure know how to make me happy, Chibity Crockett. I can feel your dream. Remember I told you to remember that? Chibity has lit a fire in Domon's soul. That is an honest-to-God canon line, and nobody can take that from me. Anyway, Domon wins the match by KO. But again, when Chibity comes to, Domon, who is like in shoujo soft focus, reassures him again that their fight was great. He'd love to do it again anytime. And helps him up onto his shoulder, and it's beautiful. What is their dynamic? So, Autistic ADHD solidarity, which is also pronounced kissing with tongue. Definitely battle couple sparring as foreplay. Domon gets tied up a lot in canon, so that's pretty exploitable. And likewise with Chivity's raging praise kink. If I were to sort them into a hypothetical Dom sub dynamic, I would probably refer to that as coach and trainee. Honestly, this would be a juggernaut pairing in just about any other fandom, but G Gundam, in all its latex glory, was left mostly undiscovered by slashers. And, nowadays it's quieter than it was in the heyday, so, our city now. Communicating with your fists is a recurring theme in the show. And that, plus the Shuffle Alliance empathy, I think leads to some really cool potential with adding a romantic or sexual element to that. So, propaganda. This is actually 2 slides because this slide is all the stuff that I have had made for me by gift or commission. Beautiful, beautiful art all around. And this is all the stuff that I have made because basically everything that is existing out there is either by me or for me. So I have mostly just one shot so far. I have a full-length ship manifesto, some art, a playlist, anything tagged Royal Flush on my Tumblr. I have a whole list of ship names that are mostly poker puns. And that is everything I have to say here. Thank you for listening to my rambling.